And I'm Jim McIntyre. I'm the Dean of the College of Education. We're delighted to have you here today. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what we'll talk about today. So here is our agenda for the next probably about an hour or so. And we are going to start with some introductions and also talk a little bit about the evolution of the College of Education. We'll share some news. There's a lot of exciting things happening here at the College of Education. And so we'll dig into some of that. And then we've been doing a lot of work around thinking about our future. What does it look like for the College of Education? Where are we headed? What is our mission, our vision, our strategic priorities? And we're going to ask you your thoughts and opinion as well to make sure that we get some good feedback and make sure that you're part of our process of really discerning our future together. And then finally, at the end, we'll have lots of time for conversation and questions and any comments that you may have as well. And I would also invite you just to jump in as we go. If you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you have comments, we really value your opinion. We really value your perspective, and we really value your input and feedback. So it's a big part of why we're here today. And so we'd love to hear your voice as we go through. So that's our agenda. We'll start with introductions. Again, my name is Jim McIntyre. I am the Dean of the College of Education here at Belmont University. I started in January, so relatively new to Belmont University and relatively new to being here in Nashville, but delighted to be here and excited about the great work that's happening here. Before I get a little bit more into my background, I want to introduce Dr. Kathy Eshte, who is our Associate Dean for the College of Education. You want to say hello, Kathy, and say a word about yourself?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Kathy Eshte. I have finished up my third year here at Belmont. I'm originally from South Louisiana, and I've taught in the public school system in Louisiana, and I've also worked in education in California, and now here in Tennessee, and excited to be here and call Tennessee home. Nice to meet you all.
Very good. Thank you so much. So my background, a little bit about me. So I've been a teacher. I taught high school in a small alternative high school in East St. Louis, Illinois. So you can actually see a picture from a long time ago. You can tell because I have a lot of hair back then. And in my classroom in the early 90s in East St. Louis. Just a wonderful and informative and extraordinary experience for me as a classroom teacher that has really driven the rest of my career, my passion for making sure that we develop systems that enable students to be successful and have a bright future and opportunities and access to a bright future. I spent 11 years in the Boston Public Schools in Massachusetts. I was the budget director and the chief operating officer there, and then I spent 8 years as the superintendent of schools in Knoxville, Tennessee. Knox County Schools, it's a school system of about 61,000 students, and we had a great school board, wonderful educators, great kids, terrific families, and so we saw some terrific success there. And as you see in the picture, that's me with Governor Haslam as we were, our district was being named an exemplary school district by the state of Tennessee. We're really proud of that work that happened back, that was in my 7th year as a superintendent in 2015. I've also been in higher education. I've been at Canisius College in Buffalo, New York. I've been at Boston University. And most recently, I was at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville prior to coming here to Belmont University. But I'm delighted to be here, really excited about both the work that's happened here at Belmont University in the College of Education, the foundation that's been laid, but also the really exciting and bright future that we have ahead of us. So would love to dive right into some of that right now. So this is just a little bit of a give you the sense of the history of what is now the College of Education. So up until 2019, for many of you, you may have graduated from the Department of Education, which had been in various places throughout the university, most recently under the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences until 2019. In 2020, we were sort of progressed to become a School of Education. And now in 2021, we are a College of Education. And so the idea really is that most of our education programs will be organized under the College of Education. There are a couple of exceptions like music education and theater education, but for the most part, most of our educator preparation programs, most of our education programs are here in the College of Education. And it's an opportunity for us to really find and really build a sense of identity as a college. And I think the university really wants us to continue to refine the work that we do and grow over time. And we're seeing a lot of that growth happening right now. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. So we're thrilled to be a full college of education here at Belmont University, and we have some really exciting and ambitious aspirations for the future going forward. And you can see some of our great pictures of our educators and our graduates. And we just had a wonderful spring graduation and had some just terrific folks who have walked through commencement, and some just outstanding future educators that we're very proud of. So what's new? There's a lot of great things that are new and exciting at the College of Education. So what we're seeing is we're starting several new programs. So we have a new PhD program in Strategic Leadership in Education that begins in the fall. This is one of the first doctoral programs at Belmont University, so it's a very big deal. And we are excited about the design of this PhD program as well. So it is a PhD, not an EDD, and that is by design. So it's got a traditional research component and a traditional dissertation. And so it really combines the best of theory and practice together. And then also it recognizes that people are coming to education and educational leadership from different contexts and different landscapes. And so we've got a traditional folks who are working in the traditional education sector. We have an educational leadership concentration. For folks who might be coming from maybe a charter management organization or a educational technology organization or things like that, we have a management and entrepreneurship concentration within the PhD. And we also have a faith and justice concentration for folks who may be coming to us and have interest in working in the faith-based sector or working in a private school. So there are really three great options within this PhD in strategic leadership and education. And we're just thrilled to have a great cohort starting in the fall of 2022. It'll be about a 4-year program, including the dissertation, maybe 4.5 years for most candidates. And we just are delighted by the design and by the interest in the program that starts in the fall. We are starting, I guess, sort of restarting a special education program. We've had some special education programs in the past, but we haven't in recent history. So we're really excited about starting a special education degree and licensure programs in the fall. We have tremendous expertise in our faculty around special education, and so it's just marvelous opportunity for us to leverage that expertise and really meet a very important demand in the marketplace right now in terms of needing terrific educators to work with kids with disabilities. So we're very excited about that. And again, you see a theme here, starting in the fall of 2022, we're going to have that program coming online as well. In January, in fact, on my 4th day as the Dean of the College of Education, we got a $2 million grant. So that was a really nice, welcome present from the state of Tennessee. And we received a $2 million grant to recruit, train, and support 50 new secondary math teachers in Tennessee in partnership with school systems in Middle Tennessee. And really it's a residency program, which means that they will be the candidates will basically be serving during the day in a classroom, either as a resident, as a teacher's aide, or as a job embedded candidate, as a teacher of record. And they'll have lots of scaffolding and support. And then in the evenings, they'll be taking coursework with us here at Belmont University and getting a master's degree and licensure to be a secondary math teacher in Tennessee. We're really excited about this effort. Again, this is a huge need, and particularly here in Middle Tennessee and across the state and really across the country for really high quality secondary math teachers. And we're excited to be a part of the effort to make that happen. And then we've got a really, I think, compelling and exciting incoming freshman class. So we've got 33 incoming freshmen undergraduate education majors who are starting with us in the fall. We actually saw a 26% increase in applications year over year, which is remarkable. And in a era when the number of teacher candidates across the country is declining pretty precipitously, we're seeing an increase in our enrollment, particularly for undergraduate education majors. So we're really excited about that. I want to share with you what that looks like. So not only is it a good size class and an increase over prior years, but we're also seeing a good bit of diversity, both geographically. You can see we've got students coming from all over the country, but also just ethnically and racially. Really substantial diversity and interestingly, 10 first-generation students out of 33. So we're really tapping into and supporting the next generation of college-going students and also the next generation of great classroom educators. And we're really excited, as you can see from in the far left, we actually have 3 males. So that's that's very big. And we're really excited about that as well. So just an excellent and exciting incoming class. We've got a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement about the College of Education right now. And we're moving in such a really positive direction. And so just wanted to share that with you around our undergraduates. I'm going to pause there for just a second. I would love to dive into a little bit about our mission, vision, and priorities. But before I do that, any questions, any comments, any reactions to what I've shared so far?
Hi, Dr. McIntyre. My name is Cheyenne, and I just had a question regarding the special education licensure. Will there be a place for a class or time in a class regarding students with gifted and talented designations?
Great question, Cheyenne. Thank you. And Dr. Eshte is actually one of our special education experts, so I'm going to let her tackle that. She's really been deeply involved in the development of the curriculum, and so I'll let her answer that question for you.
Hi, Cheyenne. So this degree actually is a K-8 interventionist. So the focus is on special education. While gifted and talented does fall under that special education umbrella, it is a different licensure path. So that is one of the areas we are hoping to add at some point down the road. We do some basic introduction to gifted and talented. I'm a gifted and talented parent, so I'm hoping we get that added. That is also another area, there's lots of, not as many positions, but there are lots of open positions that do need to be filled. So hopefully that's something that we will be in the pipeline moving forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cheyenne, thanks for the question. And glad to entertain any other questions or any other comments about what we've seen so far. Just a lot of really exciting things happening in the College of Education. Okay, very good. So this is the part where I begin to put you all to work. So we want your feedback and we want your input on, we've done a lot of work in thinking about our mission, vision, and priorities, and I want to share all that with you. But also would love, as you think about this and listen to this, some of your thoughts and ideas as well. So we want to make sure that this is reflective not only of our aspirations as faculty and staff, but of our aspirations as a College of Education community. So we really would love to hear your thoughts and your ideas around mission, vision, and priorities as we move forward. But let me start with this. We are in the midst of, I think, a really exciting moment at Belmont University. As you can see from the bottom of the slide, we have a new president as of about a year ago. Right now, Dr. Greg Jones, who is just a remarkable visionary leader and has brought a lot of excitement and innovation to this campus in the last year. And again, just a lot of great momentum happening here. Dr. Jones has embarked with the university community on a journey to really think about what our strategic trajectory, as he calls it, to 2030 will look like. And so we have a new mission statement, a new vision statement, and 5 new strategic pathways that have been identified for Belmont University. So I'm going to share those with you and then also talk about how we in the College of Education see ourselves fitting within that mission, vision, and those strategic pathways. So I'll start with just the mission of the Belmont University that has been recently revised and adopted by the Board of Trust, which is that we are a Christ-centered, student-focused community developing diverse leaders of purpose, character, wisdom, and transformational mindset, eager and equipped, of course, to make the world a better place. So that's exciting that, to really hone in and refine our mission. And then the vision is to be the leading Christ-centered university in the world, radically championing the pursuit of life abundant for all people. So that's how the university has articulated the pathway forward. And so based on that, we've begun to think about what does our mission and vision look like here in the College of Education? How do we align to that mission and vision of the university? And what's unique about the work that we do as folks who are preparing future educators? So our proposed College of Education mission and vision really speaks to 4 different attributes, 4 different ideals that we want to be able to do well, and that we want our future educators and leaders to be able to do well. And the first is to teach brilliantly. And we thought carefully about the language there. Brilliantly means to teach smartly, to teach intelligently, to teach, as it says from the Google Dictionary, in an exceptionally clever or talented way. But it also, to teach brilliantly means to shine a light. It means to be able to illuminate and to enlighten, which we do as educators. And it also means to reflect the light of Christ. And so we think that to teach brilliantly is something that we think we can do well and should be part of our future and the future of those that we are supporting and developing. We want to innovate boldly. We want to advocate passionately, and we want to serve faithfully. And so based on those 4 tenets, based on those 4 attributes, we have developed a tentative preliminary mission statement that is here. And it says the mission of the College of Education is to teach brilliantly, innovate boldly, advocate passionately, and serve faithfully, and to grow teachers and leaders who embody these ideals. And then in terms of our vision, we really kind of mirrored the university's mission, with one exception, that we really want to make sure that we focus on not only growing the next generation of great teachers and leaders, but we also want to elevate the profession. We want to make sure that we're highlighting the importance of the work that we do as educators, and that we're doing everything that we can to elevate excellence in our profession. So our vision is to be the leading Christ-centered educator preparation program in the world, elevating excellence for our profession and radically championing life abundant for all students, families, and communities. I'm going to send this slide deck to all of you when we're done. But in the meantime, I'm also going to, when we begin to have some conversation about this, I'm going to put this in the chat as well. We have a document that sort of outlines some of this. So let me do that. Let me put this in the chat real quick. So you have the document. It will take me just a second. And then begin to think about these questions that are that I'm going to put on the screen here. So some of your reactions to and overall thoughts about the mission and vision. And we've got a small enough group that we can just open things up and talk about it together here. But I'm gonna put in here a document that into the chat, a document that outlines all of that, and see if this works. Okay. So you should have in the chat the ability to download that PDF document that speaks to our strategic priorities and our mission and our vision. So if you're not able to capture that, let me know. We'll certainly send it to you, but I thought it might be helpful to have as we do this. So I'm going to just stop there for a minute and open things up. Reactions, thoughts about the overall mission and vision. Does that resonate with you? Do you have suggestions for improvement? Are there other places that, other types of language or other places that we should be thinking about? And are there other sort of priorities that we should infuse into the mission and vision? And I'll go back to it for a second so you can actually see it and have it in front of you. And I'm going to actually pause. Let's move on and we'll talk about some of the strategic priorities here in the College of Education. So we have, as a university, really undertaken a process to discern 5 strategic pathways, and Dr. Jones has really led us through that process, and they're listed here. So the 5 strategic pathways are whole person formation, data-informed social innovation, an integrative approach to health and wellness and flourishing, to embrace hope and inclusivity in order to help reweave the social fabric, and then storytelling that inspires the world. And so those are the 5 strategic pathways. And there's a little bit more information about each of those here. There's sort of a little bit of language that supports each of those pathways, a little bit more detail here in terms of those strategic pathways. But I'll tell you what we've done. We've thought about how we consider each of these pathways here in the College of Education. And so we've created a little bit of shorthand here. So When you think about whole person formation and to develop people of character, purpose, wisdom, and transformational mindset, we think about that as to educate. When you talk about leading the way with data-informed social innovation, that's to innovate. To champion an integrative approach to health and well-being and flourishing, we see that as to advocate. To embrace hope and inclusive excellence, to collaborate, and to amplify storytelling is to communicate. So those are the 5 areas, the sort of the shorthand version of the 5 areas, the 5 strategic pathways that we have now developed into our strategic priorities. And by the way, that's me at our Donuts with the Dean event earlier this spring. We had a blast with all of our students. It turns out if you put out coffee and donuts for 18 and 19-year-olds, they'll come in droves, and especially in the morning. So we had a great time with them and really enjoyed that. But as we've taken those ideas to educate, innovate, advocate, collaborate, and communicate, we put a little bit more meat to the bones of that. And so our proposed strategic priorities are to educate outstanding teachers and leaders, to innovate, to transform education, to advocate for children, families, and communities, as we always have, to collaborate, to enhance access, opportunity, support, and success, and to communicate our stories to inspire and engage. So as we go through, I want to give you a sense of each of these strategic goals and highlight a couple of the areas, the action steps underneath them. So when we think about whole person formation, when we think about educating outstanding teachers and leaders, I think a couple of things that come out there. One is really just to ensure excellence in the work that we do in teaching and in scholarship, and in making sure that we are developing all of our future educators. I think the second thing that we I think I would highlight here is the third bullet from the bottom is we want to really expand leadership and teacher leadership development programming. We are starting with the PhD in strategic leadership and education. We have this remarkable opportunity to really dip our toe in the water of educational leadership. And we think there's a place for us to do more of that going forward, and a place for us to really leverage some of the expertise that we have in the college to do more around administrative leadership and teacher leadership. When we think about to innovate in terms of innovating to transform education, I think a couple things I would highlight there is really the partnership. So we believe deeply that we and our candidates will only be successful if we are working in partnership and in collaboration with our partner school systems. And so we want to make sure we develop really deep beneficial partnerships with schools, districts, and community organizations. And I think we want to really, that third bullet from the bottom, challenge traditional structures to try to truly innovate by imagining and piloting innovative models. And then we want to, and this is, Dr. Jones talks about, our plans should be so ambitious that they make us a little bit nauseous. Well, this one fits that bill. That last bullet of assessing the feasibility of a Belmont University laboratory school or preschool, I think would be a really ambitious undertaking, but one that I think would definitely be worthwhile taking a look at. Then our third area is to advocate for children, families, and communities. And we want to make sure that we really do have this integrative approach to flourishing. And I would say a couple of things I would highlight in that area. One is really our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, access, and opportunity. We really feel strongly that we are better when we have diverse perspectives and diverse experiences in our classrooms and in our professional lives. And so that's something that's really important to us and that we'll continue to champion. I would say that third to the last bullet is also a really important one. We want to think about how to promote integrated non-academic services in schools. So health and mental health, and really identifying and addressing some of the non-academic needs for students that can impact their performance in the classroom. And then I think finally, when we talk about advocacy, we want to make sure that we help build and help students and families and communities build their own capacity for advocacy as well. Okay, and then our fourth strategic priority would be to collaborate to enhance access, opportunity, support and success, or what we call inclusive excellence. And one of the things that we've really recognized is that our future probably is in what we're calling here immersive school partnership models. So the residency models or the job embedded models, where our candidates are in schools, they're working during the day, they're really deeply embedded in the practice of education during the day. And then in the evenings, they are learning and understanding the research and the theory behind excellence in pedagogy and content and in student support. And so that kind of immersive school partnership model we really see as our future, particularly in graduate education. And it's something that we're going to do more of. And it really harkens back to that notion of collaboration and partnership with our partner districts, which will be so necessary. In the past, we've really embedded some of our College of Education courses in schools, and we feel like that's something that we haven't been able to do that because of COVID the last few years. We really feel like that's something that's going to be important for us moving forward to be able to do. Again, building those deep relationships with our partner schools and districts is just, I think, incredibly beneficial for our teacher candidates and for their experience. And so we want to do more of that. And then that last bullet, thinking about ways to work with our colleagues across Belmont on high impact effort to reweave the social fabric. We feel like that's going to be incredibly important as well. And then the last area, the last strategic priority is communication and storytelling. And we do want to think about how to communicate our story and tell stories that inspire and engage. And I think that last one is just what this one's all about, to be able to highlight stories and images of faith, service, human flourishing, truth, beauty, and goodness, as Dr. Jones says, and for us to be able to really, we're not very good in education at tooting our own horn. We're not very good at telling our story oftentimes. And I think this will be an opportunity for us to do that even more. So those are our strategic priorities. Would love to hear your thoughts and what you think. That's actually my license plate now. So I have been able to secure the vaunted Bruin license plate, and I'm very excited about that. But thoughts, responses, any feedback, and feel free to pop it in the chat as well about any of the strategic priorities. Well, Cheyenne had put something in the chat. Great to see the amazing growth. Really since 2019, we really have seen tremendous growth. Since 2019, we've gone from a department to a school to a college of education and seen tremendous growth and lots of wonderful opportunities. So we're very, very excited about that. I wanted to take a moment, if you have thoughts or feedback, or while you're collecting your thoughts, I also want to introduce another one of our faculty members who's joined us, Dr. Darcy Finch, who is with us, an assistant professor and wonderful part of the faculty. And Dr. Finch is the director of the Metro Nashville Urban Teacher Residency Program. So welcome, Dr. Finch.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So good to see you here. We're really excited that you have joined us today.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So last chance for any just thoughts, feedback, information, comments on our proposed strategic priorities.
Again, I think y'all have done an absolutely beautiful job here. And, you know, it's very crystal clear, you know, what you believe and the direction that you want to go and the impact you want to make. One of the things I've oftentimes wondered about is the political climate around education, mm-hmm. and how oftentimes it can get very polarizing in the news, at the school board meetings, and as a you talked about wanting to enlighten and be a light, mm-hmm. in the community, mm-hmm. Which was beautifully stated. What do you see, this, is a really a question for Kathy, Darcy, and Jim here. How do you see Belmont's role navigating and showing leadership right in the community.
Mm-hmm.
How can we be a leader when those issues arise and people are looking around for that beacon that's shining?
Yeah. It's a great question, Kate. Thank you for that. And probably a pretty complicated one, I would say. But I think there's an opportunity for Belmont University as a whole, and specifically for the College of Education, to really catalyze some conversation around some of those issues. And when we talk about partnership, when we talk about relationship, when we talk about building bridges and really collaborating deeply with our partner districts and educators and families, that's a real opportunity for us. I think about a couple of things. So one is, we want to have authentic conversations in our classroom. We want to acknowledge some of the things that are going on and really help our aspiring teachers, our aspiring educators and leaders to be well versed in those issues and be able to navigate some of those issues that are really thorny and challenging at times. But, to not necessarily for us to take a political stand one way or another, but to educate, to hopefully illuminate some of those issues and to provide some information and facts so people can have good, reasonable, fact-based conversations about some of those things. The second thing I would say is that we really do have, I think Belmont University does and the College of Education does, have a really strong reputation and credibility in a variety of educational sectors. And so I see an opportunity for us to be able to facilitate some cross-sector conversations among traditional public, charter, private, and even homeschool educators and leaders around some of these thornier issues and challenges. And I think in particular about the notion of character, values, virtue, ethics. And, there are certain things that, have become controversial. Social emotional learning has become controversial, which is surprising to me, but it has. But I think of some of the places and some of the people who have taken really innovative and productive approaches to some of these issues that we might be able to share some great practices and strategies and solutions across sectors. I think about Valor Collegiate Academy is a very high performing charter school right here in Nashville. And they have one of the best, what they call comprehensive human development systems in the nation that I've ever seen. And it's about helping young people and adults in their school community to become their best selves and to fulfill their promise. And so they talk about developing strong heart, mind, body, and spirit. And they talk about, essentially social emotional development and character development and values and virtues in ways that are, I think, resonate with people across political spectrums and across cultural spectrums. And so there's a lot we can learn from people like that and from programs like that and from initiatives like that. And so I hope that we at Belmont will be in a position to be able to facilitate some of those conversations and collaborations and share strategies and solutions across sectors. But thank you for the question. It's a great one, and one I think we all grapple with. That's wonderful. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Amazing answer.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna stop us there. This is our faculty at graduation. I'm gonna stop there and just, if there are any other questions in any other areas, any remaining comments, feel free to pop something in the chat. Feel free to, you should have my email address from the invitation. Feel free to email me any questions or comments that you have, but I just want to give one last chance to see if there's any other questions or feedback or comments before we wrap things up.
Go ahead, Cheyenne. Sorry.
Go ahead, Cheyenne.
I would definitely second what you said about Belmont having a great reputation. I know that as I was coming out of the program, I had administrators, speak to that They prefer Belmont University candidates. And I think that the immersive model that Belmont uses really prepared me for the field in terms of being ready to teach. And so I really admire everything that we were doing as a university and how much growth we're making as a college. And so that's just really great. And I think that we are on just such an awesome path.
Thank you, Cheyenne. I appreciate that. And well, we're very proud of graduates like you who are doing great things and who who are here to hear all the wonderful things that are happening and to support the tremendous growth and exciting momentum that's happening here at Belmont University and the College of Education. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. I just and in closing, I really just want to thank you all for being with us today. This is it's wonderful to be able to share some of the things that are happening in the College of Education, and it's wonderful to be able to get some feedback on it. And we're going to continue to have conversations like this. We're going to continue to try to refine our strategic priorities, our mission, and our vision. And then we're going to go about the business of executing on it. So we're going to get busy doing it. So we're excited about the future and excited about continuing to really grow the next generation of outstanding educators and leaders. So thank you all for being with us, and appreciate your time and appreciate your commitment to being with us today to talk about the future of the College of Education. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care.